Hello, my name is Charlotte. I look after the community here at Climate Salad, and my camera is off because I have a nasty head cold. This is a lunch and learn session and a wonderful session, build, scale, and launch, build and scale, build and launch with AWS. We have the wonderful Dan and Yorka to take us through this. Please use the chat function. This is an interactive session. And before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land of which we meet. For me, that's the Gubbi Gubbi people, Wanya Nullam. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and joining us today, and recognise their continuous connection to country, land and sea. I am going to hand the virtual mic over to Dan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Charlotte, and welcome everybody, and hello. I'm dialing in from Wellington, New Zealand, so you've caught it on a good day. There's blue sky behind me. It doesn't happen often over here, but we have got a good day. And so I've got Yorka on the line. I think I also might have my colleague Jenna from the sustainability team. I saw her just join as well. I forwarded her the invite. And I'm going to talk. We're going to talk. We've got about 5-10 minutes of prepared content. And I thought the way we could run this and open obviously to ideas is that Yorka and I, the AWS team, can do quick intros. Then we go around the room, hear from you, hear a bit about your missions and why you joined today. I just like quick, what you're keen to learn, why you joined, and then we get into the prepared content, and then we can go into the Q&A. So within, do that within 15 minutes. Quick hello from me. I'll start, and then I'll hand over to Yorka. So. I've been with the AWS team now coming up on 6 years, and the startup team 5 years. And I've got 2 hats. One is to help New Zealand venture-backed startups go global, and 2 is to help Australia and New Zealand climate tech startups build and grow and scale with AWS. So my background, I started my career as a software engineer at Cisco and Siebel and big software companies, then did an MBA. And got into venture capital myself over in Europe. But my interest in climate really started back. I went to COP14 in 2004 in Buenos Aires with my brother, who had started a carbon brokerage. He did the first carbon deals in New Zealand. And that's where I first got interested in the area, and I really got to know the Kyoto Protocol pretty well, the predecessor to the Paris Accord, and some of the mechanisms there, and some of the ways that the world could try and address the challenges, especially for developing countries with climate change. So that's where it all started for me. So I've been with AWS 6 years, 5 years startup team, and I help with the credit program at AWS as well. I can also put you in touch with people like Yorka and the solution architects, and also add help with connectivity within the AWS wider group. But with that, I'll hand over to Yorka. Might want to do a quick intro.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. And hi, everyone. My name's Yorka. I am a solution architect in the AWS startup team. And look, if you haven't worked with a solution architect before, we help all our customers look at their business and help them build on the technical side of AWS. I've got a background as a previous CTO and co-founder of my own startup. Went from first line of code to exit over a few years. That was in the disaster recovery space. But now working at AWS, I have a pretty keen interest when it comes to the climate space. Particularly, a lot of it is fairly personal. I have my own home energy projects that I'm constantly working on. I have a real strong interest in what I like to say, where the bits meet the bytes. That's kind of where the interest is for me on that. So yeah, happy to help with you guys and make your solutions real.
Cool, thanks, Yorka. Now I am just going to check to see if Jenna's on the line and she's available. Jenna, do you want to come on and have a quick intro?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, there's blue skies here in Sydney, but for some reason it is blocked out. Hey, Dan. So hi all, my name's Jenna. I sit in Sydney. I'm part of the AWS sustainability team. So more broadly, my team are responsible for getting AWS to net zero as part of our One Amazon goal, also running on 100% renewable energy by 2025 and water positive by 30. And so my role specifically is to sit in region and work with all of our customers across public sector, commercial, startup, everyone, to really listen to what their expectations are as of AWS as a cloud provider, and feeding that back to make sure that we are meeting those expectations. So in any given day, I'm talking with public policy to government agencies to understand where their cloud first strategy is going and what they expect from us from our sustainability credentials perspective. And then at the end of the day, I'm talking to customers to understand how they're leveraging our technologies to build first to market solutions to help them accelerate their sustainability agenda. And I will leave it there.
Thanks a lot, Jenna. So I thought now it would be good, you've heard from us. And perhaps before I go through the slides, there'll be how many people on the line now? It says, if you have time for this, hopefully we do. Like a really quick round the room, just to intro your name, your company, your mission, and why you why you came today. Do we want to do that, Charlotte? Does that sound like a doable, achievable thing? Number of people? Oh, you're on.
I almost took my camera on. If you want, if you don't feel like you want to come onto the mic, just put it in the chat. But yeah, it'd be great to go around the room.
Cool. So maybe should I just read out the names in the list? Yeah, so Ainsley is first on the list. Do you want to come on, quick hello?
Or whoever's ready. Sylvia, your camera's on. Would you like to?
Sure. Quickly, I'm Sylvia, CEO of Electrobase. We are on a mission to help companies decarbonise, particularly those in the industrial and commercial space. And we do this by offering renewable energy solutions via battery energy storage and fast DC to DC charging, so we can electrify all of the fleets and fast charge them quite quickly. I'm here because we need to scale up very quickly and very soon. So that's me.
Cool. Thanks.
And see Steve from Charm has put a little chat in there, which is awesome. Fuvan or Cameron or anyone else who would like to jump in and say a quick hello?
Yeah, hello. My name is Cameron McKenzie. I'm the CEO of an organisation called Aspire. We use AWS. We have for a while. Yeah, great product. Basically, what we do is we're a marketplace for surplus or redundant materials. So like a matchmaking service, but also too, we measure, we're ISO verified to measure embodied carbon for those items that get transacted through the platform. So we create certificates off the back of that that help businesses with their circular journey towards a circular economy. Yeah, and basically I'm here, obviously, just recently joined Climate Salad, which is good. And yeah, just sort of exploring what we need to do to sort of move forward. Yeah, it'd be great to see what we can do with AWS.
Sounds good. Great to hear that you're enjoying the platform. Thanks for being customer.
I'm Pavan, a co-founder of Akoya, which we're replacing diesel and petrol generators in the film industry in Australia with mobile battery storage, and building out an ecosystem for the film industry with large battery solutions and small battery solutions on set, similar to what Amazon's doing with Moxion in the US.
Yes.
So we're trying to build that out here in Australia and the Asia Pacific region, ASEAN, Asia Pacific region.
Cool. Thanks. All right. I think there was some on the chat as well. I'll just everywhere.
Emma, you've got your camera off. Did you want to do a quick intro?
Yeah, so hi Dan and Charlotte. Emma Coast from Rocket Seeder. Rocket Seeder is a founding Climate Salad member, a proud Climate Salad member. And so what we do is we support early stage startups in the agri-food sector in Australia, and which of course agri-food is a big contributor to climate issues, and also a potential solution provider. So we're very interested in this session, Dan, and good to hear that you're focusing on climate tech now.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, and definitely Australia, New Zealand and agri certainly can be world leaders, especially, I mean, the emission profiles of both countries. Well, New Zealand certainly has 50% of greenhouse gas emissions in agri, the first country in the world to have levies on agri, and Australia also a significant emission profile. So yeah, real opportunity in that sector. So yeah, fantastic.
Hi, I'm Luke Berry. I'm the founder of Clean and Recover, and we build water treatment plants for the mining sector. Our principal interest is in setting up SCADA systems to run those plants remotely, but also a little bit of sort of data logging, data analysis to sort of say, you know, how's the plant performing? You know, can we tune it up? Can we improve it? And warehousing of data for long, you know, because we're getting a voltage, amperage, pH reading every minute or something for each plant, and just keeping that data for later term analysis.
Right, because that's not happening today. The analysis is not sort of happening.
Not
today.
really switched on yet. No.
Yeah, awesome.
That might be most people, because I see a lot in the chat coming through, but feel free to you know, change your display name to reflect your company name too, or if you want to jump off mic and introduce yourself. But yeah, we can get into it and go into the Q&A intros later too.
Cool. So I'll start sharing my screen now. So share screen. Okay, so and I'll just make sure it's coming through. Share. Is that coming through okay?
Brilliant.
Yeah, cool. So I'll get into it. So I want to start just with a little customer story to start. Everything we do at Amazon really starts with the customer. And this is a New Zealand agri-tech customer, Halter. And we see a photo of the CEO. With his name's Craig Piggott, with a dairy cow, a sort of Fitbit for cows, a solar-powered cow collar around its neck. With a Halter, a farmer can get a full suite of herd, pasture, and animal data on his or her phone. You know, what condition is the animal in at a herd level too? Where are the cows? Should they be moved? Where are the rivers? And what is the sustainability impact of having these cows in this area? And quite amazingly, with the actual smartphone, you can actually automate the herd movements, and farmers can save up to 20 to 40 hours per week. And how does this work? The collar sends sort of cues, warning sounds and vibrations to guide the herd to, say, a different paddock or milking shed. It's a great example of sort of deep tech, software, analytics, and data all together. And it really shows how, you know, farming, a quite traditional sector, can be transformed through the use of the technology that's out there today. You know, farm without fences, I thought that was kind of science fiction when I first heard about it a few years ago. And I like this example so much because it not only promises more productivity for farmers and saving them time, but it also allows other things to be tackled as well. So effectively the environmental impact of the herd, but also the well-being of the animals. And you know what they said was at Halter is that, you know, by partnering and working with AWS, they've really managed to focus on their secret sauce, on their core delivery to farmers, as opposed to needing to worry about things like keeping the lights on, keeping the infrastructure going, scaling, or going into new markets and worrying about the technology not being able to support them as they enter new markets. And so they can focus on their core business. With Halter, they were born on the cloud. I met them when there were just a few team members right at the beginning. We helped them right at that early stage, and we're still helping them very closely today when they're scaling. So it's a good example of kind of how we operate. And I'm just going to be quick with these slides, but you know, this is the mental model that our startup team sort of uses often to think about how we can support. It's an idea of sort of activate, build, and connect. So activate is when you're getting started. We have a free tier on AWS. There are credits through our AWS Activate program. I'll talk a little bit about that later. We have things like office hours where you can have one-on-one sessions with our experts on our left, and we have a dedicated team here in Australia and New Zealand to support. And we love to hear like the stories that, you know, about of the missions that you're trying to do. We want to know about these things, and we're on the ground here to support you with that. So that's the sort of activate piece. The build piece is where we support you as you try and adopt some of our services. So AWS, Amazon Web Services, cloud computing. There are 200+ services on the platform now. So it's it's really worthwhile getting that expert advice from one of us, free advice on how you can best make use of those services. And that's where our solution architects like Yorka can come in and provide suggestions and advice on how to make the most of it. And then finally, the connect piece is when you look to work with AWS as a partner. These are things like our AWS Marketplace, where you can sell through to our customers as a partner. We've got hundreds of thousands of customers that you can sell through to on the marketplace. It doesn't prevent, it doesn't mean that your go-to-market and your strategy doesn't need to be in place. You need to have obviously the way you're going to reach those customers still in place. It's just to facilitate lower the friction when you're selling into our customer or AWS users around the world. There's also, you can become a partner, and when you become a partner, there are funding mechanisms that you can unlock. And we have deep expertise in various sort of sectors, and we can work together at joint events overseas, but also in Australia and New Zealand and industry events. We'll often be there. We often like to work through our customers who are doing innovative things, and so like to showcase you. This could also mean sort of press and media or other things like that. So ABC is kind of how we have a model of how we support companies, startups. And we know the journey for a startup is not easy. And this is why our team is specifically set up to support startups. We know this could be years before you hit product market fit. And so we have programs, especially the AWS Activate program in those early days, to support you. And this graph here is showing an actual customer sort of charging on AWS profile. The blue line is how much they used of AWS, and the yellow line is actually the actual charge. And you can see that effectively they had the yellow or the orange line is quite near the bottom there, because they were using credits for several years. And then in 2021, they hit product market fit and really scaled quickly. This is a software company. And so we know there's a situation of no cash, pivot, try to get customers. We know and then, hopefully you get launched and lots of cash, but we support before that happens. The key point on this slide is that we're here to support you before you hit, not just after you've hit product market fit. And these are some of the ways we support it with Activate, events, connections, introductions around hiring. We do also can support sort of a investor introduction on an ad hoc basis. Solution architects can provide reviews of your environment and then preparation for scale. And then there's some more Activate. This was an actual example here. So I'll just quickly talk about our value proposition when it comes to sustainability. We are an ally on sustainability. We share the same values with climate tech startups. We are committed to building a sustainable business, and we are driving towards a net zero carbon future by 2040 as our goal. AWS, Amazon, which is part of Amazon, the bigger company, is focused on efficiency and continuous innovation of our infrastructure, global infrastructure. And we're looking to power our operations with 100% renewable by 2025. And Amazon co-founded the Climate Pledge. And I know I spoke to some of you in October last year about this, and we spoke to some of the team over on the West Coast of the US about joining the Climate Pledge, because that's a setup where organizations who meet the criteria effectively pledged to meet the Paris Accord 10 years early. And it's a great forum for learnings to be shared between organizations, some very large organizations in that group, not only Amazon. So that was we're an ally on sustainability. We have vertical expertise in climate tech. So we don't have the stat for this region yet, but I think the stat I found is in North America and Europe and the Middle East, 2/3 of the unicorns, climate tech unicorns, are running on AWS. So we have the specialization, and so some big names globally like Indigo Agriculture, Lime, Boom Supersonic. They do these new supersonic aircraft. They're using IoT, AI/ML, high performance compute, and the like on AWS. So we have the vertical expertise. We have breadth of depth of services. So we have, as I've mentioned earlier, 200+ services on AWS, including AI/ML, IoT, data analytics, and compute to start. to help your startup get started and grow. And then finally, we've got 2 to go here. So AWS and Amazon invest in climate tech startups. So the Activate program that I mentioned earlier is a credit program that can provide up to $100,000 of credit that you can use to offset charges on our platform. So those 200 plus services, you can be using them for, in many cases, several years without actually paying us anything, because you're experimenting, you're playing around to get that right architecture in place. So with Climate Salad, we have an agreement in place, and I'll show you that at the end of this presentation. And you can apply to the program more than once, and it's more than just credits. There's also expert guidance, there's free training, there's other things. We also have, on a sustainability front, we have 4 equity-free accelerators designed for climate tech startups, such as energy, build, environment, space, and waste management. So I can send you the links afterwards on those. And I think a number of Climate Salad companies have been involved in the Energy Accelerator, which was in Lisbon, I think last year or the year before. We also have the $2 billion Amazon Climate Pledge Fund, which invests in startups, climate tech startups that will help Amazon meet its mission, so meet its net zero goal that I talked about earlier. And there's also a $100 million Right Now Climate Fund that invests in nature-based solutions to restore and conserve forests, wetlands, and grasslands around the world. So you can see there's a lot of stuff there. And really it's a question of having a look at each of those in terms of those investment pieces that we can support you with and see if it fits. And there's a criteria page for each. And then, we can also talk to us and we can look to help you with the application. And the last point I'm going to make here, as climate tech startups grow their business with AWS. So we've got, as I mentioned with the marketplace, we've got a large community of customers and partners, and you can sell sustainability solutions on the marketplace. So you can actually search by sustainability solutions there. We have co-sell programs like ISV Accelerate. There's also sort of a data exchange where if you have sustainability data sets that you want to publish, either as sort of open, also on a subscription model, you can use that. And for business development and PR, you can actually think of joining the Climate Pledge yourself. Climate tech startups could become a signatory of Climate Pledge. So that's our sort of value proposition around climate. I mean, this is one little headline here around the AWS Marketplace, for instance. This is from earlier this year. Kogo, so they're a fintech from New Zealand that partner with banks to help their customers see their carbon footprint and effectively take action. So you as a customer, say of NatWest, which is one of their customers in the UK, can say, I care about the climate and I want to offset my emissions profile. It will analyze your transactions in real time and then provide suggestions and nudges. So they've effectively partnered with us and are on the AWS Marketplace to help sell their carbon management software to banks. So they've got large customers who are also our customers. That's just one example. And I'll finish up with the AWS Activate program. So as mentioned, you can start really easily with this, with the founders tier, and get access to up to 1,000 credits, dollars worth of credits, US dollars worth of credits with the founders tier, and then go all the way up to 100,000 US dollars worth of credits. Effectively, with the portfolio tier, effectively this has been changed this year, and there are different tiers. So there's 5K, 15K, 25K, and 100K. And we can guide you if you're at a particular tier and you have investment from a VC. We can certainly guide you and say, okay, yeah, you might be able to access the top tier or another tier, and it's capped at 100K, so you can access more than once. And those are used to offset charges on the platform. So with Climate Salad, we have this set up. These are the details. I'll send them afterwards. You can access up to 5,000 US dollars worth of credit with Climate Salad today. So there are eligibility criteria, and the main one is if you've already accessed $5,000 worth of credit, you won't be eligible through Climate Salad, but you may be eligible through, say, another one that has a higher tier like 10,000, and you'll be topped up that difference of 5,000. But we can talk through those examples of importance. And I think that's pretty much it from me. So I'll stop there, and I'll open it up. Right, am I still on? Yeah, here we go.
You are.
Okay.
Your shared is still screened.
Okay. Okay.
I'm talking like Yoda. And I do have that poll for you as well, if you'd like to, if
Cool.
you'd like me to launch it, just to understand the architecture solutions that everyone is.
I'm just trying to figure out my Zoom situation here. So as I'll just try and stop share. Here's the button. Got it. So yeah, so effectively, maybe it's a time, just to open up the floor, and this is an Ask Me Anything. So really, it's anything. And we've got, so on the line, as mentioned, there's Jenna here and Yorka. So we've got quite a good cross section from Australia and New Zealand of AWS representatives that may be able to help you with your questions.
I'm just looking through the chat here. It's good to see. And we have launched that poll. Craig, did you want to? Oh, thanks for telling. Thanks. Climate Salad is awesome, obviously, because we have amazing members. And you wanted to hear about the AWS Climate Pledge. Did you want to come off mic and ask Dan, Yorka, and Jenna?
Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, I think the majority of the questions have been answered, to be honest. So I guess it's that really the interest was in the commitment from Amazon to invest in companies to mitigate its own, carbon emissions and trying to bring down its footprint to net zero. So yeah, that was answered. But yeah, great presentation, and thanks for the insights.
Thanks, Craig. And I mean, Jenna might be able to provide a bit more clarity and detail. I don't know if you want to talk about that a bit further, Jenna?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, was the question around the Climate Pledge or the Climate Pledge Fund?
Oh, it was around the Climate Pledge Fund.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. So as Dave mentioned, we launched the fund, and it really is to accelerate Amazon's journey to net zero. From the beginning, we've always said we cannot do this alone, and speaking with customers, they agree, and a lot of large enterprise are looking to cohorts such as yourselves to solve a lot of the challenges that they're up against. The Climate Pledge Fund, what we've seen so far, you may be aware of Rivian. That was one of our first investments, and that's an electric vehicle maker and automotive technology company. So they are helping us get electric vehicles onto the road through our logistics networks that we have throughout Amazon. Another really great investment was around carbon cure technologies. So they've actually commercialized low carbon concrete. We build data centers, we build fulfillment centers. So a lot of our embodied carbon is in the concrete that we use. And I think there's a number of other ones. Infinium is another one that is really exciting. So it's something that is enabling us to move ahead. And I think as you start to understand a little bit more of it, I think clarity comes to it. As Dan said, it's all about moving our sustainability journey forward, but we're hoping obviously through that investment we can move whole markets, and so the selection criteria, it's very strategic. Will it help us accelerate, and will it open up and accelerate others as well, because we want to bring the tide along, right?
And I'll just add one little point to that. We did in Q4, for instance, we had actually a member of Climate Salad, one of the members, we got them to pitch in front of the fund, and so the feedback I sort of took is that it really has to be closely aligned. There are 6 areas, if you look at the Climate Pledge Fund page, there's sort of 6 subsectors that we're looking at, and you have to really be sort of really hitting the mark on effectively those areas and understanding Amazon's goals in those areas, and how your startup can help Amazon reach those goals. And that's how you tailor your pitch to the Climate Pledge Fund. Typically at a Series A level, that fund, as I recall.
Sorry, and Dan also, Emma was just asking, and I'm sure everyone would also be asking this, if they could get a copy of this presentation as well.
Absolutely, yep, no problem. I can send that through afterwards.
And Simon, did you want to come off mic and just ask your question? Or I can read it out if you like. Has Simon come off mic? No. He's a bit later to the intro. Our director at Powerfry, I don't know why I was going to say Fry. I think of food too much. We have activated our Climate Salad AWS credits so our web developers can bring our vision for data-driven hot water savings to life. Sorry, also off camera as too sick to front up. Oh, I'm the same, Simon, don't worry. So it wasn't quite so much as a question, but a comment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really good to hear. And the question, the thing is, the credits is one thing, but outside of the credits, it's get in touch. And if you if you are looking to design an IoT, so computer vision, for instance, so Yorker and I specifically done quite a bit in this space in computer vision architecture. So we can help you with how you may wish to prototype that, or how you can do that on AWS and the services you use. And we might help you save a bit of time by some shortcuts. So really good to hear that you're using that in a innovative way like that. Hot water savings to life. Yeah, that's great.
We also have Stefan on the line, who was previously part of AWS and now part of Climate Salad. So, AWS has been friends with Climate Salad from the very, very start. We also have a formal partnership that runs for 2 years. And I can say that Stefan is incredible wealth of information and knowledge, but also Dan is such a great support to the community, as is Colette, as is all of the AWS people I've encountered, Yorker and Jenna on the call. But Dan is also in Slack. So if you have any questions, just reach out. Dan's also a great person to have when you're going international on trade missions as well, which we have a few coming up. Hey, Stefan, did you want to say a few words?
I think you covered the ground. And of course, if anybody ever has any questions about how to contact AWS, get in touch with AWS, you can ping me as well. And I'm pretty sure, York is in the Slack channel as well. So, Dan could help us with, credits and access to things like maybe the Climate Pledge Fund. York can certainly help out from a solution architecture perspective. We've got 3 different solution architects from AWS in our Slack community. So ask away. So I really appreciate Dan, Jenna, and York. It's great in this other life and reality here at Climate Salad to still be working with you. It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so cool to see you, Stefan, and landed so well in your feet at Climate Salad. So yeah, I hope to be side by side with you on one of those trade missions before long. I was going to put in the link here. We've got this. Is there another question? Okay, so yeah, we do have this APJ Startup Loft, and I'm just going to put the link in here, because we have also workshops and the like that come up there, and it's a good place. Also, you can book one-on-one times with 30-minute sessions with our experts, solution architecture experts. So I'm just going to get that link ready and put it in the chat window here. But as I do that, if there are any other questions, don't hesitate to sing out. Okay.
I think everyone's like, oh, great, I can get some of my lunchtime back and I'll just hit you up on Slack. Yes, AWS is incredibly supportive of startups, and it's no wonder it's the #1 platform for startups to be using, because they are incredibly helpful. So please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're not sure how to get in contact, always ask me and I will make those intros for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So on Slack and anytime, just sing out, and I'm happy to help.
Great. I think everyone, I do know like a lot of the people joining the call are people's Otter AIs to take notes. This is recorded, so I will share this out and also share the presentation, or Dan can also share it direct to Slack. Thank you so much for your time. And if there is any other further questions, please reach out over Slack. But any final words, Dan, Yorke, or Jenna, or even Stefan, formerly Amazonian? Is that what you say? Or AWSian?
Amazonian. No.
No, nothing left from me. But what about Yorke, Jenna? Do you have anything?
Look, I'll jump in one thing. I think Dan and I are working on a sort of a little project to put together what we call a build day, and particularly for climate solutions. So the idea is that we get collection of startups into a room, and we just help them build out a particular MVP or a particular feature that they want to build out for with so AWS solution architects in the room. And it's just pretty unstructured, and it's just, the plan is we just get together and help you do what you need to do in your environment. So look out for those coming out. Think of it as just, I don't like to say free, I say complimentary help in getting you going, just building out what you're doing. So.
If anybody wants to, express interest early, we're looking at doing those in July in Sydney and Melbourne. So ping me on the Slack. Dan and I will be coming back to the community to kind of flesh that out a bit more soon, so that we can get folks that need help in the room and get help accelerate what you're doing.
From me, apologies, I didn't realize I had my camera off while I was speaking, but Stefan, I had no idea.
Good to see you.
I had so many mixed emotions when I just heard that news. I'm so sad and devastated, but so excited for Climate Salad that they took you on board. Brilliant to see you again.
You're doing quality work there at AWS with the customers around sustainability, and I really appreciate it. So Jenna's a legend. I've introduced Climate Salad companies to her while I was still at AWS and mentoring Climate Salad companies. So if you have any thoughts as a community about particular synergy intersecting with AWS's enterprise customers around sustainability, ping me, and I'm happy to run it by Jenna and see if there's a point of attack to perhaps collaborate.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm just so grateful for everyone on the call and who joined earlier for the work that you do, because we need it. We need it quickly. Our enterprise customers know it. So yeah, if I can do some speed dating or matchmaking, very, very happy to do so.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and energy. And you have some time back in your lunch, that also never hesitate to reach out to this incredible crew that are just here to live and breathe, helping founders go further. So thanks so much, team.
Thank you very much for having us.